the Ribadu-led committee report, and so much is being said about it. Well, we'll come to that in a moment. We're joined now by Senator Magnus Abe, who is Chairman, House Committee on Petroleum.
Senate Committee.
I beg your pardon? Senate Committee. I said Senator. How did
No,
you
you said House.
No, I mean Senator Magnus Abe. But how did Senate come in here? But anyway, morning, and thank you for coming this morning. Well, it's interesting, this report, because, first of all, when you read it and saw it, was anything new strike you? You've been seminars, hearings, anything new to you about this report?
Nothing much that I would describe as actually new. I think that some of the challenges that we have in the petroleum sector is pretty much well known to all of us in this country. I don't think that there's anything that anybody would describe as entirely new in all the things that have been said. The Senate Joint Committee on the investigation into the fuel subsidy issue, which I chaired, we have also submitted a report that is with the Senate. I think that if you look through the whole thread of everything that's been said, I don't think that there's much that is actually new in all this.
For those who may not be aware, because when the Senate started it, when your committee started its public hearing, that was before the subsidy protest began. Because after a while, I think it went on recess or something. Yeah. Then the House also did theirs, then eventually events overtook certain things, and then these committees were set up. But you have people who are asking that if your report had come up a little earlier, would there have been any need, even as of when it came out, would there have been any need for all of these committees? Because there are those who think that some of these things were what these committees were set up to address in the first place.
Well, I think that part of a challenge of our country is the fact that when something is topical, everybody has something to contribute to it. I think the minister wanted her own investigation. The issue between the House and the Senate, between the Farouk committee and our own committee, was something that I have avoided discussing for 3 reasons. First is that there has always been a tradition in the National Assembly that both chambers don't conduct, the same investigation into the same issue separately at the same time. So when we went on recess and the House came back and set up the Farouk committee, my committee, meeting with the Senate leadership, decided that we should stand down our own investigation to respect that tradition and allow the Farouk committee to finish what they were doing in the House. And when they finish, we will go back to conclude our assignment, which is exactly what we did. So,
but was it not possible to have spoken to the leadership of the House that aren't they aware that you're currently conducting, after all, you started first, and one would have expected that your report would have come out first?
That's why I said it's an issue that I've avoided discussing. I talked to the leadership of the House. The Speaker is my friend, the Deputy Speaker is my friend, and we're all colleagues in one form or the other. So there are issues that you would not discuss in public, but the important thing is that we maintain the integrity and the credibility of the National Assembly, which I think we have done, because now the House has its report. The Senate, we have our own report, which we have submitted to the Senate.
And now the Ribadu Committee has its own report.
The Monkey Committee has its own report. So
is it possible to collapse all these reports and get a document that can help move the industry forward? How do we get to that point?
I don't think that there's anything wrong with the different reports. I don't think that if you look at the different reports that there is actually much difference in terms of, there may be specific issues that are better highlighted in one report than the other. But the sum total of it actually is that there are need for certain changes in the petroleum sector and how we relate to our hydrocarbon resources. I think that much is clear to everybody. And if you look at all the reports, it doesn't say anything much different from that.
Yeah, really. You said the Senate has submitted its report. Has it been debated?
It has not. It's been, the procedure in the Senate is that when you finish, you present the report. Then there'll be a date when it will now be, debated. It's not been debated, but it's with the Senate.
And a date hasn't been fixed for the debate yet.
That's not my responsibility. That's the responsibility of the Rules and Business Committee and the Senate leadership. So any day it's fixed and we're informed, we'll be there on the floor to make our own contribution.
Did you happen upon a copy of the leaked Badu report?
Well, I rather would not. I hear the report is being presented
Today.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that the way these things work, it is the copy that is actually presented that we will deal with as a Rebadu report. So I would not like to join in any kind of open speculation as to what is actually in the report and what is not. But I really do not think that what will be presented may be more different from what has been circulated in the papers. But I would prefer, as a responsible public official, I would prefer to wait until the actual report is presented and we're sure that this is what Ribadu actually said in his report, and then we will be able to discuss it.
Okay, now, before you, sorry, Nieta, before you close chapter on that one, I was going to say that we saw reports in papers saying that it happened upon a leaked copy of that particular report, which we saw, and it wasn't much different from what was in the KPMG audit report ordered by the federal government, which I think your committee also made reference to while interviewing, while asking questions from the ministers. I think you made reference to it at some point during your investigation, which you saw.
Yes, we did. We even met.
How different would you say your final report was from the KPMG report?
Are you asking me what is in my report? I think the attitude I have to some of these things is that when you have the actual document before you, it will be easier to deal with it. I don't want to sit here and begin to discuss a report that is with the Senate that has not been discussed. You know, at the point, a lot of people have tried to put pressure on us to let us have a copy. I actually don't have a copy of the report. We presented it to the Senate. So when it is released, then you'll be able to see what is different from what is in the KPMG report or the Mokede report or the Ribadu report or the Lawan report. There's so many reports on this issue.
Okay, let's forget the reports. You're the chairman of the Senate Committee, Petroleum Downstream.
Yes.
Okay, that means you take oversight functions and oversight trips in that industry. You see the rot, the environmental decay, the situation as we speak, the leakages that come through that. Now, what do we do so that these things are stopped or minimized to the barest minimum, especially the environment?
Well, what I would say, which I have said severally, and I really want to repeat it here, is that there are a lot of challenges in the downstream sector of our petroleum industry. That much is pretty much clear to everybody who uses petroleum products or relates to the industry in any way. Those challenges I would identify as three main challenges. First, of course, is the obvious challenge of product supply, you know, across the country, and product availability. That is a visible challenge to everybody. The second challenge, which may not be so visible, is the question of value loss. As in an oil-producing country, are we actually getting the true benefits that we can get from our hydrocarbon resources in the downstream sector in terms of value addition, in terms of employment, in terms of...
if I may interrupt you there, the value addition now, is it to the government or to the people?
Everybody should benefit. The government has a right to benefit. The people also have a right to benefit. But what I'm saying is that whether you're looking at it from the point of view of the government or you're looking at it from the point of view of the people, is anybody actually getting what they can actually get from these resources? And my answer will be no. First, in terms of technology transfer, capacity development in the industry, in the sector, product availability, you know, all the chains that we can grow from having the fact that we have these resources in our country simply do not exist. Then you now look at the loss in terms of what you're talking about, the environment and all that and all that. It's I don't want to use the word, you know, a big mess, but it's actually not where we need to be. So those are some of the challenges that are visible to everybody. And I think that the sum total of all these reports and situations and all that is that we actually sit down to do something about this. That's what I would like to see.